Hi. So I'm going to be making this video today on a close shot, and I will likely maybe talk for long or talk very short because I'm actually talking from a place from my heart. Let me try and make it quick. I'm going to start with the Mobad um, case, and then I would reflect back to what I've learned totally and how it also plays a role in me. Let's have Mobad. Sometimes rejections are a blessing, and sometimes disappointment as well. It's a blessing. Rejection could be a blessing, and two, it's disappointment. When Mobad was consistently trying to be signed, into the Naira Marley records, the Malians. Imagine at that particular point in time, Naira Marley had rejected him. He would have been disappointed. He would have felt depressed. He would have felt rejected. He would have been struggling to make his own music by himself, save up money to go to the studio. He would have been consistently thinking, if I was in a record label, maybe these things would have been easier. Maybe I wouldn't have had to spend my own money. He said he was a carpenter, so I wouldn't have spent my own money from my carpentry, workmanship to go to the studio. I mean, I would have been able to, maybe he would have said things like he would have been able to afford a better studio, better songwriters, or I mean, if you're writing song, you would have been able to afford going to a better producer to produce a better song. You would have had a better media management. You would have been able to go for shows, get endorsements. You would have had a proper management. Now, why trying to do this thing on the solo? He would have consistently wished Naira Marley had signed him, or he would have wished maybe a record label had, signed him. The real fact is maybe he would have still, at a point, become a boss on his own. We have the likes of Olamide and so many other artists that practically were solo. I mean, they were not under a record label and they ended up blowing up. Maybe he would have worked hard and became a record label boss. He would have probably been the one signing people by now. But if that rejection had happened, probably he would have felt really bad with himself. When you get rejected most times, and when disappointment comes in most times it's the universe's own way of protecting you from things that might really be bad. Years ago, I was in school. There was this girl I dated. While I was in school, everyone told me she had been betrothed to someone. Betrothed means before she actually go to school, someone had already seen her people, told them how he wants to marry her. And according to what I learned later on, the girl said, which is my ex then in school, that she would want to go to school first because she was not in school. She had stopped in secondary school. And so he took her to Port Harcourt and was taking care of her, and she was schooling in school. While she was in school, she would put on a ring most times. Like I remember asking her back then, she said the ring was to scare away people. Boys always asking her out, and she wanted them to stop. Like it was a way of repelling guys around her. I confronted her on numerous occasions, not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, not seven, not eight. On numerous occasions, people would always call me and advise me because they knew her better than me. And most people knew that she was betrothed. But when I asked her, she said that's what she told them. And I mean, that is why they're telling me that. It's not like it's true. Now, being someone that I date, being someone I was with, being someone that basically lives together, because in school she spends more time at my lodge more than at the hostel. I always felt I had, the obligation to believe my own partner more than I would with anybody. And I've always been somebody who has been misjudged. Like my whole life, people have always misjudged me. If you see when people talk about me, they don't ever say something good, which is just actually now that people are not saying something good about me. But I was somebody who was really misjudged because I was an ego in the midst of chickens, meaning I have big dreams, everybody feels I'm proud, meaning I want to always talk big talks. I mean, Like you ask me right now, the kind of life I won't want to tell you the big things. Like that's the kind of mentality I have, to be larger than life. It's the way I was built. It's my physique. It's not something I choose to be. It's how, just the way some people come into the world. They're very funny. They're comedians. When they talk, everybody's laughing. I'm someone that when I talk, everybody gets intimidated because they feel. I mean, it's either this guy shows off too much, he talks too much, or he's so proud of himself. So just like a comedian cannot really control being funny, I cannot really start acting like I'm supposed to be like everybody because I know I'm destined for greatness. And even when I'm saying this, some people will probably get triggered. People are not really that proud and sure of what they would be. So when they see someone who is very, very proud of himself and saying, I'm going to achieve this, they see it like you're being too proud. You're counting your eggs before it's being laid, not knowing that you actually have to foresee those eggs. Imagine those eggs before you even have them in the real life. Like there is nothing good that comes to you if you have not actually pictured it and worked towards it. And if magically, miraculously, you win a lotto, you win a prize you were not merited, that means you did not go through stress to get that thing. You will lose it. That's why everybody who you have seen that won millions overnight end up being poor. You have to be programmed and program your mind to be something big and work towards it for you to actually achieve it and stay on it. So my own programming is just basically work towards something and you get it. So now back to then in school. People judged me a lot. And so while they were judging her, they were telling me things about her, I didn't buy into any of them. I always had my own reservations. We dated for quite some time. I noticed, I mean, she wasn't really at the place as well. And I was in school then, so I had my own leisure life. So I flirted, played, you know, had numerous girlfriends in school, no doubt. I was happy I did that when I could within my time. So now I'm matured. I really do not have that time for those things again. I mean, we've done that, we've passed it, and we're on to better things. So back then, I was quite one of the well-doing boys in school. I had a car, I had like two cars in school. My finals had like a Lexus 330 and a RAK 4. I was doing very well. I stayed in a nice apartment. Like I was more than what the average student could be. The average student is probably struggling to pay school fees, and I'm thinking of how to build a hostel. I had to complete my hostel because I built a hostel in school. While I was in school, I was building a hostel. So I was thinking of completing my hostel where other students would come and be paying for lodge fee. So you see that my own life was quite different. And so while the school was, while we're practically leaving, I started also mingling with other people. Like girls were coming around, and at the point in time, I had fidelity issues with her in the sense that she lies a lot. I love this girl like the world like meant nothing to me. If anybody would tell me I wouldn't marry this girl, I would take up a rope, put it on my neck, and kill myself. I loved her like there was no tomorrow. I could basically be with 1,000 girls, but she was always on my mind. And it got to a point where one day I went through her Facebook. I saw so many funny things, people she had had a fling with, even people that I knew. And these people would practically come meet me in the same space. They would gist with her, laugh with her, they would play very funny with her. I always knew something was quite funny with the way they would always want to overplay with her. And it's kind of play like, don't play with me like this, so Dan is around, or it's more like they're playing, but something is holding the play from not escalating because I'm there. And I figured out she was having things to do with them. One day we had a fight. I had seen someone that I liked more, and I told her that I couldn't continue with the relationship again. I was really getting fed up with the whole thing, the infidelity. I myself, I was not really. I mean, if I'm not really in a relationship, I can't be faithful. That's the honest fact. I can only be faithful when I'm contented. The moment I'm not day completely contented no more, the street got me. So then the street got me, and I finally met someone in the street that I liked, and I was willing to settle down with her. What I mean settle down, to be able to focus on the relationship, because I was still very young then to talk about marriage. I started dating this young girl that I met. She did practically everything she could. She tried reaching out to the young girl. She once scattered the first relationship I was in. I had someone who I loved then. We moved in, and I was no longer having time for her. So she came in with one talk then that she was pregnant. So I myself, being someone who was too open, I told the person I was dating then, I see you, my ex-girlfriend, she says she's pregnant though. And that one told me, what would you do about it? I said, we'll keep the baby now, because I wouldn't want to, be in any way involved in an abortion. And the girl I was currently dating then couldn't take it and she left. And later on, I discovered that my ex was never pregnant. I mean, she didn't even see her period. Madam just did like this, wake up, lie, say, get belly, when she couldn't get my attention. And me, when I was still very young, I didn't even say, let me take it to the hospital. I did not run any form of tests. Okay, then we had already closed for the semester, so she had gone back to Suleja. She was staying in Suleja then. She had gone back to Niger State. And I was talking to this girl for months, which is my ex, thinking she was pregnant. She even told me at the point she go, I wish I had all those my old conversations. I don't know if there's still. I wish I get my old conversation. You know, she sent me one picture of one baby that was premature, telling me that was her baby, that was our baby, and I was really, really positive that I already had a child. You know, I was waiting for the day I could actually see my baby. Not until I discovered the whole thing was a hook, and she later told me about it and said that was the only way she could get my attention because I had blocked her everywhere. She actually used another phone number to text me saying I'm pregnant or I've been trying to reach you for days, and that was when I now unblocked her number and called her. So when I now dated her again and I figured out that she had lied to me about a baby, it was one of the most painful and annoying thing. And I still was on the street because I wasn't contented until I met this other guy I told you, which was the second person I loved. And we moved on. So she tried to play the same stunt. It couldn't work again. Obviously, she couldn't really tell me anything I would believe because I already had a whole lot of skepticism with anything she says. I don't believe anything she ever says again. I already discovered then she had someone who had betrothed, who she had been betrothed to, and I would always make reference like, "Go marry this man." You know, he has already seen your people, and she would reply me with, "It's you I love." She was quite young, which was quite true. She was still in her teenage year. I mean, I don't know why her parents gave her out, but I understood then that she was still very young and this man was there to train her. But I was not really mad at the man. I was mad at the fact that even if you had this man that was training you, no problem, but you were still flirting in school. And I was not a saint, I was doing the same thing too. But I mean, I wouldn't still want to marry someone who has the same energy as me. It's easier when we were flirting at the beginning and we both came together to make a relationship and we get focused on it, versus it seems like the flirting would never stop. And so this other guy I met, I had found love, and I had told, which is my ex then, and I will move on. So one day she came in, we had a fight. She took a hammer. She broke my plasma. I think I still have the video on Facebook because when I uploaded it, I did not delete it. I made it from public to private. She broke my plasma. Then I had like two televisions. I had like two screens. One was a television, the other was a monitor. Like I connect my computer to a monitor, my laptop. So the laptop was the main screen. The monitor was like two screens because I'm a developer, so I like using like multiple screens to code. She broke the two of them. She destroyed my laptop. Like she practically brought my laptop now. Used hammer to pieces my laptop. This was somebody who had on numerous times had infidelity issues with me. This was someone whom I couldn't let go of. And there she was destroying my laptop. She brought my CAC documents. That was the time I wanted to register my company name. And so she helped me with some money which I gave her back. And she helped me to register CAC. Every day she keeps making reference of the money she gave me to register. And I keep making reference to the money I paid her back. She keeps telling me if she hadn't helped me register the business, I would have probably not been able to be doing it. I said, but I've been doing well all my life. You didn't meet me being broke. I was okay. But that point was a point when I had to do that registration and there was no money on me. And she went to look for the documents. She was even about tearing them. She took salt. She put salt in my generator. Like if I had switched on that generator would have just knocked engine. It was even out of negligence. She didn't even bother to cover the gen, and that's why this girl puts like this girl just practically calmed down, look for every single thing she would do to destroy my life. And that was the day we had our strong fight, and she left. She had her own laptop, so I destroyed it. She came back, she said she's going to arrest me with army. Then she went to one army Guinea. She wanted to bring army to intimidate me because I spoiled her laptop. She said the laptop was bought by her current, because she later got married to the guy, but it was bought by her the man that was dating her. And she wanted me to replace it. And I said, you spoiled my laptop, spoiled my two monitors, but somehow want me to replace yours. I said, I'm no longer having money issues, but I mean, that's the last thing I'm going to do. She was able to talk to one of my friends whom already had an eyes on her before then, was always sex chatting her and all that. That was giving her information of when I was in school, when I left the campus, when I head home, so they could pick me up to interrogate me. But luckily, as I don't know, universe may have it, on the 9 minutes she changed her mind and said this is what she wanted to do, but she had a rethink. She still loves me and all that. So I think I met her then. We had one makeup, or should I call it makeup? Let's say it's one for the road, and we were together that day. And I just had to tell her that, see, I know you like me and I know I like you, but I mean, we're in a toxic state and I don't really think we can keep going like this. This other guy is serious about you and I think you should just stick to him. She told me how she doesn't want me to do the living. I mean, she doesn't want to do the breakup. Then it became obvious that she wanted to do the living and not me. I had to dance to the tune. I stayed in the relationship for the few times I could. Not until she told me she was getting married. So when she told me she was getting married, she said, "Oh, if she gets married, I mean, just to, I mean, she gave me lots of false hope. Then, she's not really marrying now because she likes it. Her parents is forcing her. Once at a point, spoke to her mom. Her mom insulted the hell out of me. Told me how I was useless and everything. I was a student. What do I know about life? What do I know about marriage? I want to know useless her daughter's life. I should let her daughter stay with the man that she's been betrothed to. Her siblings, the same thing. Everybody wanted to give me one fair share of insults. While in reality, who I was with didn't even inform me she was betrothed. It now felt like I was maybe in a way intimidating her to be in the relationship. I was forcing her to be there. When in reality it wasn't so. So she cut the whole thing short. She got married, she left. I felt bad. Um at first, but later on when she got married and she was still reaching out to me and she was still doing the things she knows how to do best. And she wasn't still at a place. Like I could figure it out because we met on different occasions. And I knew this girl would never be fruitful to the man she got married to. Fast forward, I think I saw her last year or there about. And all I could do was when she left, I was just raising up my hand, thanking God Almighty that I did not marry her. Because if I had, I would have not been making this video by now. That if there was any, she threatened me numerous times she's going to poison me. So I'm 1001% sure that I would have been in my grave by now. Now, when that relationship scattered, I felt like bad. I mean, she left not living with the conviction of, hey, Danny is a very nice person. I'm not going to be with him because I was already betrothed. It's an understanding because then we're talking very well. It was an understanding. He's a cool guy. She left with telling everyone how in the next 5 years I might not likely get married. How I don't even know what I want. How my business is around gambling because I used to have this sports betting prediction platform doing after I used to gamble. How today I will win games in betting, tomorrow I will lose all the whole money in sports betting, that I'm a gambler. Do they know what I do? I gamble for a living and I create website, but the website and apps doesn't even come all the time. And sometimes in a month I won't even have jobs, which was true. I don't really get freelance job all the time. But however, I have a product which is a prediction software that I use myself for predictions and people buy it, and so I make good money on it. I mean enough money to get like 2 cars and to be okay in school. And she left. Now when she left, she hyped the hell out of me, told me how her husband then bought 2 cows, not a burial, a wedding, 2 cows. I mean it was so flamboyant, told me a lot of big things. And at that point in time I was basically trying to put myself in order with all my businesses and all that. And I wished her the best. I ended up getting married also. I was happy at the beginning of my marriage. I mean, things were, well, I really, I was really happy. Topic for another day. But at the point, I mean, things started, getting better. Now, I look at this Mohbad case and I knew for sure that I am only alive today because I did not get married to my ex. If I had done that, she would have not just spoiled my screams. Maybe by now she would have burnt both my car, burnt me inside the house, and destroyed me for another man's cock. Maybe by now I should have been dead and forgotten. Most times when we have things we think we lose, or when certain people leave us, and it feels like we were rejected or we were disappointed with a particular partnership, it's for our own good. Early this year, I wanted to open up a developers hub, which is currently where I am. This is one of my developers hub. I still have another one inside Abuja a bit. And when I wanted to open up this developers hub, I had someone who was I used to call him head of software. So he was basically supposed to help me build most of the softwares as I wanted to be more focused on being the CEO, getting deals, going for meeting investors, doing most of the managerial decisions and activities. Would decide. I would, delegate to him. He would follow up with the employees, and I was really very happy to have someone who I thought would help me. I also had a UI UX designer whom I had trusted so much. In fact, I would constantly, on any video I make, I will make reference to my UI UX designer and also my what is it called again, my head of software. To cut the whole story short, I spent thousands of naira trying to let them create just one website for me, my company website, and it lingered for months. It lingered so much that the person I called head of software started telling me, sorry for cutting you short, why he cut me in between my speech in front of the people who were supposed to be working for me. The one who was doing UI UX saw that, the website has lingered for months, nothing is happening. I will spend money, I employ people from Fiverr, employ here, and I was so busy. I was trying to fix my life. I was having lots of personal crisis, and I was trying to fix myself up. I paid my UI UX guy. When he came in, he had a very bad laptop. I single-handedly gave him salary advance to upgrade his laptop into a better one. I provided money for him to get a router. I actually booked flights for this boy 2 times. The first flight was in January. The second flight was when everybody assembled at this office. This boy never showed up because the first time he was in a website, he did not do well, so there was no need bringing him to Abuja. He was still working in Lagos. The second time, he was supposed to come join them. He was complaining about payment and all that. I said, okay, when you come around, we're going to settle you. And then he now went to the company's Figma. A Figma is basically a software used to design websites. Oga went there. All the jobs I've paid this boy in the past that he's been doing, both the whole tips. Sometimes you get issues for relationship and go advise him. Oga basically went and hid the whole files. And I was lucky enough to understood that. I started making some browse, started downloading some of the files, and I was able to download some, put them on my own Figma, and then I started seeing how he had hid and turned them off. And this boy was practically trying to undo everything he has done for me, because according to him, he said they hadn't paid him for the previous month, which I had already paid him like consistently, never owed him for once. I've never owed him salary for once. But I was going through crisis. The people had already paid. He brought 2 people to do this website he coded, and they couldn't do it well. I spent almost $200 or thereabouts for that project, and it did not materialize. Now I got frustrated and I said, I'm not going to pay anybody 1 kobo again. I'm paying all of you, nothing is happening. If you remember my story, I opened this place not because I wanted to open a hub. I said I was tired of freelancers. I will give you a job, I will send you money upfront, so you can buy data, you can buy electricity, with hopes that you will do my job for me. At the end of the whole day, one cock and bull story. Nobody ever does it well. But him, he was trying his best. I was so proud of him. The other one, he's been following me for years. I've not really given him any job to do, but I felt he was loyal. Point of the whole thing, they both disappointed me. I was greatly disappointed on the both of them. The other one later told me he had a job with one big company. I'm not a big company now. Shembo Daniel Kichuku, one man standing. I have not opened up a big company then. It was just me. He was supposed to help me open up a company, so maybe he wasn't ready. He got a job elsewhere. The other one said I wasn't appreciating him. Somebody I gave salary advance, someone I would call, I would praise. There are lots of videos where I praise that boy. Or is it the ones I'll be giving him tips? He told me I will never see anybody better than him in designing websites. When this boy left, I almost cried. When the other one came to my office at Apo, he saw it. He said he stays in Kubwa. Kubwa is too far. He can't come all the way from Kubwa to Apo. That he spends basically 5,000 naira going and coming is 10k. There are people who work in Diamond Bank, who work in UBA Bank, who work in First Bank, who work in Zenith Bank. There are people who work in different companies inside Abuja, and they come all the way from Niger State. In fact, my current accountant, the accountant general of my Daniel Care group, he comes all the way from Suleja. Do you know where is Suleja? Suleja is Niger State. This guy comes from Suleja to Apo. He spends roughly 3,000 naira plus on normal transportation or not boat. And this is who's supposed to be my head of software. He doesn't want to enter normal car. He wants to use boat. I told him, don't worry, I'll make an official car available for you. Not be me again. He said that can he be managing my company from home? Like if he can be managing my office from like remote. I was not like, me now as a CEO, I want to be going up and down looking for deals and businesses. You're supposed to be at the office in case anybody comes in, you attend to them. Now you want to be managing them from. That means other people will not be working from the office. CTO or head of software, they house. CEO, they move around for meeting. He said he has another job doing this one, that one, that one. He's going to be making time for me. He will tell me he will not be available this day. He will be available this other time. He will not be available this afternoon. He will be available towards the evening. This was somebody I gave employment letter. This was somebody whom I applied to work for me. He's not telling me when he can be free. When he's done with this other job that takes his time, he will not make out time for me. I had to, at a point in time, I mean, I was desperate to build up a company. I was ready to dance to his tune. Not until the girl he brought for me to create the Anokia group for me would just ignore my messages. If I'm talking, this girl will tell me sorry for cutting you short. At that point in time, I started feeling embarrassed. I said, God, how I don't carry do with they see me finish. Fast forward, I have the best of employees now. They respect the hell out of me. Are you talking about giving me their best? Danokegroup.com is done. Danokeg.com is done. Danokeg.bio is done. Every single project I give to these people, they execute it. The same boy that told me I can't find anybody better than him. I wish I can find a way to bring him here. Tell him to bring all the job he has ever done. Let him compare it to what they are doing at my office now. Let him know if he would, even if his mouth go feel open, like he's nowhere close to what they do. And when this boy came in at first, he was not that good. I will be the one to be supporting him. Don't worry, you get better. You'll be one of the top UI UX designer in the whole Nigeria. Don't worry, I'll make sure I'm here for you. Hey, this one you did there, make the button to be like this. No, I would consistently mentor. I mentored. He did my website 4 times. First one rejected, it was not up to standard. Second one, not up to standard. Third, it was the 4th time. That website was the first time I booked a flight for him. He couldn't come because the website was not good to do. He was supposed to do it well. Then when he came back, I will not set up an apartment like this for them. He didn't. Do you know who really took up the post? It was the second person after him. This person has been giving me loyalty. This person has been supporting me, but I was not even seeing him. Who I felt was the best was that other one that was a bit pushy. Because the other one was not that pushy. So I was not really seeing that. Maybe he wasn't seeing the billion. Maybe he was not seeing what I want to achieve. Maybe the other one that was a bit more exposed, that has probably been to 1 or 2 nice places, has the eye for luxury, knows what I'm talking about. It turned out that the one I felt was not pushy became my top head of UI UX. He has given me his whole life, built up. If you go through my page, there was a point I gave 2 people $500. I gave 2 people on my team for $500 each, which is $1,000. The other guy that I gave $500, that was him. That's the UI UX designer. That was exactly the same boy that the other one that left told me I will never see who will be better than him. That in fact I should go and work with that guy. Let him see. My business now, I won't really say it has gotten to where I want it to be, but I know I've made over 100 million this year. Not even this year, except for recent, because AdSense pays me well, and I have a lot of software that I sell. And I'm looking back at how I wanted to open up this place. The person who was supposed to come backed out, which is the UI UX. The other head of software did not show up. He said it's too far for him. Now, at the end of the whole day, I am now seated and I'm now watching. The person who was supposed to be my head of software now, when he left, I had no other option. I couldn't even put that position for someone else. I had to do it myself. If I'm honest with you, that was the best decision I made this year. I started learning how to manage people in real time. I had a team of developers at my course study. I was a lead team member. I would consistently mentor, guide, and execute every project. I became very conversant with my employees. I achieved a whole lot of projects myself. I learned and got more experience in what a real startup should be like. All this while I've been working with big companies. I've been working with so many companies who will just contract me as a developer, as a senior dev. I'll go there, I'll work, and they'll pay me, I'll go. But I've not really owned what it feels like to own my own company. Like I've had a company all this while. I mean, having a company where there are lots of people. Like I have a whole lot of employees now, and from on different branches, and I manage everybody. Like all this while, I've not really been on the tech atmosphere. If it's a business, maybe one of my salons or my bet, I have lots of betting shops. And those are all my businesses. And a flea station, small flea station, 2 pumps, very good. A guest house. Good. Those ones are like businesses you put. I mean, in tech, I've not really had time where I had data analysis, product manager, UI designers, developers, front end, back end, legal department to draft out terms of use and contract. Like I've not really had a full setting, had like an accountant that'll be able to profile all the software sales, remove what we've like. I've been living my life all this while not paying attention. Now, the honest truth is, if that boy had taken the job of a head of software, if he had assumed this job, I would have left all these things for him. He would have had all the experience. He would have learned everything that needs to be learned. Maybe by now he would have been the one now who would have all this experience. If he leaves the company tomorrow, I'm actually going to be in a position where I have to look for another CTO, another person that would fill in his position. And if another person fills in his position, I won't still know much about what that position entails, as I will be so busy as a CEO, moving around, contacting only the CTO and trying to get more deals. Right now, if I leave this position today as a CTO and I employ someone else, while I become the full-time manager, I'm the full-time CEO, the full-time chairman, I can vividly tell you that I already have so much experience, actively serving as a CTO, that I'll be able to actually coordinate whoever is coming to take that position in my company. The former UI UX that felt maybe he was gold and he was the only gold that shines, among other golds. I've seen people who are better than him, people who are even pay less and who appreciate and respect me more, people who want to even give me their best more. I used to pay him 250,000 naira. I'm not going to start stating the salaries of these people here, although they have accommodation, they have feeding, data allowances, their medicals are on me, and so many other amenities, and I still give them bonuses whenever they over put in effort. Like I give them tips and bonus, just where I gave the other guy, but he was earning 250 and they're earning less than that. And I can swear to you that they gave me everything they could, that I appreciate. I don't even see them as my employer, I see them as my family. If you had seen me months ago when I was crying and regretting and feeling bad that I was left, I was like, what have I not done? If these people need my help, I would always try to be there for them. Why is everybody making me an option? The former project manager I had left me, and this was somebody who was in Lagos. She had issues, she was stranded. She had an issue in Lagos. I had to transport her back to where she came from. She said they were threatening her. She became my project manager. The same person went back to Lagos, got a job in Lagos, and abandoned my employment letter. She started working with another company and forgot that there was somebody who has been there. Maybe she would say I did not really do much for her. So I don't miss her anymore, because I have better project managers now who have worked with a lot of experience. So the real truth is, sometimes it feels like when people reject you, when people leave you, when you're disappointed, it feels like you're feeling bad. It's true. But sometimes the universe is prepping you for something bigger. Like nowadays I try to see that maybe this disappointment that I think is a disappointment, it might actually be a blessing. Sometimes you don't even know at the beginning. Just like I never really knew I was feeling bad. And look at me today. Or is it my ex that I used to be so all over, thinking she's the one that's gonna be my wife, get my kids for me and all that things. And when she left, I felt sick. I got depressed. Today I'm actually forging ahead, doing better, way better in all ramifications. So sometimes it feels like you should feel bad about somebody who has left. I understand. Sometimes it feels like you were disappointed, they did not accept you, they did not work with you. If you're an upcoming artist, if you're a techie, a startup, if you're a business owner, I'm just going to give you one big advice. Do your own part. The universe, I don't believe in religion, but I know for sure that when you do your own part with a clear mind to do better, the universe will prepare you to success. As long as you understand this concept that people come, people go, and every disappointment or rejection can actually still turn back to be better. Steve Jobs was taken out of Apple. He built a company in Apple. They sacked him. He left Apple only for him to open Nest or thereabouts. He founded another company. And Picasso, Apple had to call him back again and say, Oga, yes, we sacked you, yes, you left, but you have a good product. And they brought him back. When he came back to Apple, he came back with more experience, having been able to manage a company before. Remember Steve Jobs, first of all, was working for Apple. While he was working for Apple, he got investors. They invested billions or millions then. They founded Apple. He wasn't having the full-time say. He wasn't having all the executive power. He was just there. It's his company, he brought it about. Other people were above him. because they were the investors, they were the board, so they chickened him out, or they bullied him out. But when he came back again, he had already founded his own company by himself. And the second time Stephen Jobs came in, he did better than he had ever done on Apple. In other words, if that disappointment, that rejection, that sack letter had not come in, maybe Stephen Jobs would have not been as great as he is today. So, I mean, a word is enough for the wise.